So I have a question. Who said these words? NCLB is a wonderful opportunity. It won't implement itself. It's no silver bullet, but it provides a very powerful framework for dedicated people at the state and local levels to seize and put into action to improve the education and the lives of our children. In other words, the question is not what can No Child Left Behind do for you, but what can you do with No Child Left Behind? Is the answer Barack Obama, George Bush, or Mike Petrilli?
That was very eloquent. I thought that was pretty good.
I'm here to both educate and entertain, and the answer is Mike Petrilli. That was from a speech that Mike gave at the Southwest Regional Summit on Teacher Quality in 2003. I mention the quote for a few reasons. For one, I want to point out that Mike is a great speechwriter, and that I'm sitting up here with some very suave communicators who will be hard for me to keep up with. Now I'm going to try. But more importantly, I mention the quote because I want to rephrase Mike's point for today's conversation. Because Mike is right. The question is not, what can No Child Left Behind do for you? Nor is the question, how can we throw out No Child Left Behind? Rather, the question is, how can we make NCLB work better for students? Particularly, how can we make its accountability system better? So over the next hour, you'll hear a lot about cutting and running, about moving away from NCLB. And Mike and Jennifer will argue that NCLB has gotten many things wrong, and that's true. There's a lot that the law got wrong. NCLB focuses on teacher qualifications, but doesn't ensure that they are effective in the classroom. NCLB requires schools to spend limited dollars on improvement strategies that don't actually improve schools. And NCLB labels schools as failing, no matter whether they miss the mark a little or not a lot. But that doesn't mean we should toss the NCL baby out with the bathwater, that the federal government should have no role in framing accountability or improving teacher quality or pushing for fair funding. NCLB got a number of things right, like measuring and reporting student progress for all students and by major subgroups, and then requiring states to do something about it. That's a good thing, a great thing. So really my main message today is that there needs to be a strong federal role in education, and there are two reasons for that. First is ensuring equity. Since the landmark decision in Brown versus the Board of Education, the federal government has played a vital role in ensuring that students have equal access to quality education, and the role continues to be important. The federal government must also help ensure equity in results. And we know that despite improvements, we have a long way to go with student outcomes. Children living in low-income communities are already 2 to 3 grades behind their higher income peers by the time they are in 4th grade. And overall, only 1 in 10 students growing up in poverty will graduate from college. Second is enhancing opportunity. From the GI Bill to the Pell Grants, from Head Start, from ESEA to the Individuals with Disability Act, the federal government has sought to increase the educational opportunities of our population. These investments pay off. Indeed, the investments in higher education have made the U.S. a magnet for international students. I'm old enough to have witnessed significant change as a result of federal carrot and stick approach through the provision of federal funds combined with the enforcement of civil rights laws. As a result, the black and white achievement gap was cut in half on NAEP until it started to widen again in the early 1990s. English language learners and students with disabilities received education efforts tailored to their specific needs. And female high school and college athletes were offered sports teams and sports scholarships they never had before. These things would not have happened without federal pressure. I know because I helped apply it as a federal government official working in the Office for Civil Rights. Building on these two principles, the Center for American Progress has developed a smart, progressive vision for moving forward with the reauthorization of ESEA. The summary of our proposals in your folder, Chucker said, and specifically we recommend holding all schools accountable for getting results with all students, investing in teachers and principals so that they become more skilled and effective, making funding practices more fair and efficient, targeting support to low-performing schools, and investing in innovative practices that bring American schools into the 21st century. Our approach runs contrary to many on the far right who have embraced a cut-and-run strategy, gut education funding, and scale back federal involvement in education. Frankly, the notion that less accountability will get better behavior at the state and local level is ridiculous to my mind. There is no evidence of that in our education history. Our approach also stands in contrast to those on the far left who oppose the use of standardized testing to evaluate student, teacher, and school progress and call for transparency without results. Though I don't mean to be calling Fordham the far left.
Located wherever you want.
Instead, we believe strongly in the federal government's role in promoting equity and opportunity and emphasizing outcomes. We believe a forward-looking federal government can leverage its relatively limited resources to spur change. Yes, we need a redesigned accountability system, and we also need smart, competitive programs that can trigger significant reforms like Race to the Top, the Teacher Incentive Fund, and the I-3 program. The next steps for Congress are about policy, but also about politics. Both chambers must find consensus on the issues. In the end, what hangs in the balance is not a particular poll or election, but the economic and social well-being of our nation's students.